Hi. This is my first time, and I have not been able to say that for quite a few years, so thank you for the opportunity. Sorry. This is not one of those stories. I did have a story that I was thinking of, and I changed it. It was recently, I had been dating a guy or been on dates with a guy, and I thought I shouldn't tell that story because I didn't want to be the Taylor Swift of Story Slam in Lancaster, because I'm already doing a great job of not getting dates, so I was just gonna let that story go. That was too much information, so here we go. I am an Air Force brat. My parents both met in the Air Force, both my mom and my dad, and I can't really talk about what they did, which kind of leads into our story. When we moved back to the States, I grew up overseas, and we grew up relatively poor. And after a lot of moving, my father going to work and school 24 hours a day for so many years, he finally felt comfortable with money, and we were able to go on a cruise. And so for the first cruise, we sailed to a lot of different places, but the one places they always wanted to go was Russia. And I can already tell what you're all thinking about Russia in your head, and it's most likely accurate. So the cruise pulled up to the port, and we had 2 days, and it was 90 degrees and sunny, and I was about, I want to say 102 pounds. I was in my early 20s. I had bleached blonde hair that was very long, and I was very excited because I could fit into teeny tiny sundresses. But a reminder that this is in Russia. So the cruise pulled up to the port, which looks like you're getting out into a prison yard, and you walk down a very long pathway, and you go through their security to get into Russia. And most of the people on the cruise ship could do this very easily, but my parents were in the Air Force. And Russia has very strict rules that if you were any type of Air Force, Army, you needed to write down specifically what you did, where you did it, what your rank was, and it is to the T. My parents can't do that. Therefore, they found a loophole. If you hired a private Russian tour guide to take you around, you did not have to fill out that slip. So my brother and my brother is 6'4", I am 5'4", and he's about 260 pounds at the time. We were told, you are not allowed to say a word. Don't mention where we're from, don't mention your life, just sit there and be quiet while we're in Russia. Sounds fun, right? Was planning to do that anyways, because, what do you do when you're a young 20-year-old going to Russia? Your first thought is, I gotta meet a man. No, it's I want to get out of here alive. So we get through the port. We have a Russian tour guide. It's two. It's a young male who's driving and an older female who is our guide. And she won't speak to my mother and I at all. Now, for me, the only thing I wanted to do in Russia was eat beef stroganoff. That was the only thing I wanted. I could care less about anything else. We went to this beautiful museum that had this golden peacock clock. Has anyone ever heard of that before? They've only turned it on for 2 Americans. Everyone knows who that is, right? George W. Bush and Madonna. So the 2 most important people in America, they turned that clock for, which is fantastic. And then my mom kept telling the tour guide, the female tour guide, she just wants stroganoff. So if we can go to some place so she can get stroganoff, that would be great. That didn't happen. And they took us to this rundown area. Pretty much most of Russia is very rundown, and we're driving, and we're like, we are not getting out of here. Which one of you spoke? My parents in the car very nervously, looking around, what is happening? And they stopped at the store that had a gate on it, and you have to go down the stairs, and then you open the door, and it's all these gold eggs worth thousands of dollars that they want you to purchase, right? So we went in, my parents purchased an egg. I don't know where it is. I'm sure it's somewhere from all of our moves. And then I'm like, can we get stroganoff? Please, that's not gonna happen. And we're on our way back, And as we're walking through, they're like, do you want to go to the Church of the Savior? The Spill Blood Church, some called it. And it's beautiful. It's that church you probably see on Instagram with all the colorful toppings, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It really is. And so we went there, and I walked in, and I'm this little tiny blonde American girl with a little teeny tiny sundress on. And a Russian male walks up to me and starts screaming at me in Russian and smacks me in the thigh. And the two tour guides look at each other, and they very quickly rush us out of the church, back to the port, and we're on the ship, and we're going home. And the next morning, I'm in the shower, and I'm washing, and I go over my leg, and there's this huge bump on my thigh. And my mom says, I don't want you to overreact, but the back of your leg is covered in hives, and you have this huge bump. And we get back home, and I ask my friend Anastasia, unique, right? She's from Russia. She says, he cursed you. Very matter of fact, he cursed you, and you're cursed for life. And so I thank Russia for cursing me, because I am still single 2 decades later. Thank you, Russia.